I don't believe you.
Good morning, LinkedIn. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, the world. Coming up on today's show in a few minutes, we have Mr. John Beek, followed by Rachel Reed. Then last but not least, Mr. Duncan McDougall. Good morning, Ed.
Morning, Andrew. How are you?
Very well. There we are.
I've lowered my chair today. You can't see my t-shirt, but I promise I've got
Yeah, we've got them on, just above.
Yeah.
Busy week, good week. All been going well, Ed?
Yeah, charging along. I've got loads of projects on the go, which is really good fun at present, and loads of business being done through the Cobra Club, which is just fantastic, really. So we've given out
at the moment, which is great. It's what it's all about: passing business, giving referrals, creating opportunities for members and associates, really. So it's just been a fantastic week for business at the Cobra Club. So
long may it continue. That's what I say.
Yes. So quickly, Ed, what we're going to have to do? Let's welcome the new members into the club. And then what we'll do after that, we'll get our first guest up, Mr. John Beek. So here we go. If I can find. Are you ready for this?
Okay, I'm ready. Always ready. Well, welcome to all our new members. We've got quite a few to go through. So I'm going to start with Mark Allen, who's joined Cobra TT. That's another man, the Cobra Club of another man.
Fantastic. Welcome, Mark. Then we have Boyoza Ferraris Gandiaga, who's joined RWP.
That's easy for you to say, Andrew. Welcome, Goza. And we've also got Charles Smith, who's come to join us in Cobra M40. So they're fantastic.
Welcome, Charles. Then we have Emma Horner. Welcome to the club, Emma, who's joined Yvonne's club, Cobra M40.
Doing well. We've got Graham Johnson, who's joined RWBHQ. So good to see you, Graham. Oh, sorry, I take that all back. It's Gareth. So
Gareth. Welcome to the club, Gareth. Welcome, Jane Baylor, who's joined Cobra Hive with the wonderful Beverly Lockett. So welcome to the club, Jane.
Good to see you, Jane. And welcome, Peter Francis, who's joined Cobra Business Solutions. So good to see you there. And that's up in the... absolutely fantastic. So really, really good to see you. Welcome,
fantastic.
Peter.
So obviously we're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. If you've got any questions for today's guests or you want to shout out, please pop them in the comments. And let's have some interaction today. So
we've got a couple already. Look at this, Andrew. So we've already got people early doors. We've got the wonderful Christina D'Souza. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Christine.
Good morning, Christina. Woo! And me now is on. Good morning, both. Definitely business all round. I know
fantastic.
Have loads of business through, so she's doing really, really well. So well done.
Yeah, well done, Mina. Good to see you. Right, just going to play this, and when we come back, we'll have John Beek in the room. Good morning, John.
Morning, John. How are you?
Good morning, both. Yeah, excellent, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
I've got someone cutting a tree down just over there, so if you hear noise.
So, John, I wonder, what we normally do is ask our guests when they come in, first of all, to tell them a bit about themselves, a bit about their journey, and leading up to the business, which is going to be about the Armed Forces Covenant. So I wonder if you could start by laying a little bit about your journey and your background and where you've been and what's led you to where you are now.
Yeah, sure. So, morning, everybody, wherever you are. I'm John Beek. A little bit about me personally, kind of late 40s, married, 3 kids, living in Somerset. My background has got 2 strands. I joined the Army Cadets at age 13, and they've not been able to get rid of me yet. I'm a major serving in Bristol Army Cadets, so I'm a Cadet Force Adult Volunteer. So that's been a common thread throughout my life. I happened to meet my wife in the Army Cadets. She went off and did a spell in the Royal Navy. And my eldest daughter of 3 children has just joined the Army. So the Armed Forces is a common thread throughout our lives. However, I didn't join the regular Army. That was the intention. I accidentally became an optician instead.
Wow.
How'd you do that? One of my part-time jobs at college was working in an optician's. And then when I found myself kind of stuck in a position, there was an opportunity to go full-time. There was an opportunity to do training. Then there was an opportunity to go into management. And 18 years later, I find myself falling out of optics because of a disagreement about values and standards and those kinds of things. So at that point in time, leaving retail optics after a fairly full career, having been an employer and having employed defence people and being loosely part of the defence community myself, an opportunity came up to support the role that I'm now doing. And at that point, it was talking to businesses all about reservists, so the part-time military component. And having employed reservists, I could understand it from an employer's perspective. And being involved in the Cadet Force gave me the skill of being able to translate military into English. So having to explain what reserve service was about to employers, I could be sympathetic, but I could talk in English as well. The Armed Forces Covenant in its current guise has been going for coming up to 10 years, and it includes all parts of the defence community. But again, those same skills apply, having been an employer and being part of the defence community, that relaying that understanding from one community to another, I feel that I can do some justice to. So slightly wiggly path, you might say, but I think most people in their own businesses and probably most people in the Cobra Club wouldn't necessarily have got to their business in a straight line trajectory. But yeah, my background was retail optics for 18 years.
So the Armed Forces Covenant is really about bringing parties together, employers, you say reservists. Is that right, John?
Yeah, the Armed Forces Covenant is at top level, it's the moral understanding that we should look after our service community, those in service and those connected to them, and that they shouldn't be disadvantaged because of what they put on the line for us. And in terms of the business community, that's them securing defence, securing UK PLC to be able to operate in a safe and secure manner. so that take that big notional moral obligation, if you like, and kind of wind that down to the individual business. It's a voluntary pledge that any business can sign up to say that we're armed forces friendly, inverted commas, and then we'll help them define what that means. So yeah, you're right, Andrew. It's about defence people. It's about bringing the two parties together, defence and the business community, so that there's a better understanding of the two. And it's very, very common for any industry to talk in its own language, and defence is no different in that respect, and can be quite insular. And quite often you will hear about being behind the wire because they live in camps and garrisons and things like that. So it's enabling both those parties, the civil community, the business community, and the defence community, to understand each other better and each other's needs and desires better. But from a business perspective, okay, could you support the employment of ex-service, highly talented group of people? Would you support the employment of service spouses, again, highly talented and often the underemployed population? Would you support the employment of a reservist, so the part-timer that we mentioned at the beginning, and understanding that actually it's not a burden, there are some significant benefits from doing so, or supporting cadets, the youth development arm of defence, and other things. You're getting involved in stuff like Armed Forces Day, the last Saturday in June every year, or if they're a product or service business, do they want to advertise free of charge through the Defence Discount Service, the Armed Forces Buying Club? So there's a whole range of kind of options within the Armed Forces Covenant, but it comes back to it is a win-win. Nobody should face disadvantage because of their service, and it's allowing businesses to understand the benefits of engaging with that population.
100%. I mean, I suppose exactly what you said. You may have someone who's come through who's a little bit institutionalized because they've been in one job, that not like you, who's been through several, which is exactly how most business people are. They come in, they may be a little bit used to the army way of thinking, so they may need to readjust the way that they are. But boy, are you getting somebody who's well trained. So it's that combination of a little bit of give and a lot of take. I think it's far more beneficial for the business, really, to get these people who are really highly trained. And actually, these people have been out there and they've done such a good service for us. Anyway, they've given up. In effect, they're prepared to give up their lives to protect us. I don't think it's unreasonable that we then say thanks and come back in. So it's that sort of like, it's saying thank you, which is absolutely right. It's looking after that because we believe in our democratic rights and our society and all the other good things that the armed forces help us to maintain, and also gaining so much from people who just have some of the best training in the world. Understand, I just think it's a win-win-win. It's a win-win-win. Sorry, John, I've got all emotional. Stop now.
No, brilliant. That's fine. I apologise for the doorbell. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I often talk about the so what, and it is the access to those talent pools that we talked about, because people will have developed quite a lot of skills, both trade qualifications, but those soft skills. And we'd want everybody to get involved because it's the right thing to do. And I know that you're on that path, but I think for most businesses, particularly small business, that they have to understand that what's in it for me, and there is genuinely a good what's in it for them.
Absolutely, if nothing more, good PR. But I mean, apart from that, there's so many other good things that you could do. But I think a lot of businesses might think of something like the Armed Forces Covenant as being a huge time burden for them, or they might think there's a lot of work involved in getting the covenant, or they might think there's a lot of cost involved in getting the covenant. So if I wanted my business to get involved and support, how would I go about it, John?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Unless you have this conversation, you won't understand. So cost, 0. Time, a little bit of thought and a bit of effort in terms of conversation with the likes of me to say, well, okay, you might not be able to do that bit, but okay, you could do this bit instead. And every Armed Forces Covenant should be unique and tailored specifically to that business that's signing it. And therefore, all businesses are different. So how can, for example, how can the Cobra Club demonstrate its Armed Forces supportive credentials versus, I don't know, Tesco's or Barclays? Completely different businesses, completely different business models. So there'll be different things that each organisation could do in their own way that is beneficial for both them and for defence people. So cost nil, time not a great deal, but a little bit of thought that then should reap you some benefit thereafter.
Hugely.
That sounds really good.
If I compared it to a marketing sort of like strategy, which I would spend months and months on, spend a huge amount of money on, if you just take personalities and sort of like the good side of it out of the equation, it's fundamentally a really good idea. I mean, how many people are there sort of involved in the armed forces across the country? I mean, what sort of population is the armed forces?
Yeah, interesting question. So the size of the regular component now is probably about 70,000 across the UK and wherever they're based. We've then got about 30,000 reservists. The size of the veteran population, so the previously served population, is probably 1.5 million. So, it's massive and all across the UK.
And so if we then double that up with spouses and children and relations, I mean, you're looking at least 250,000 people, aren't you? So that's the potential. I don't know what the word is. That's the potential group of people that are probably going to be quite pleased to see that you're part of the Armed Forces Covenant, and certainly from a knowledge basis, fantastic. But from a customer basis, wow, the potential there is just huge.
Absolutely, the customer base is huge.
Brilliant stuff. That's really good. Thanks for that, John. We are sort of rapidly running out of time. It goes so quick, this show. But we've got a bit of a Ed, what do you think?
You see, people have this view of people in the army, you see, and sometimes we just like to sort of like dig a little bit behind the scenes, John. So I reckon that John is someone who has hidden depths, Andrew.
Okay.
He's got talents that we don't know about.
Right. Watch this, John. When we come back, we're going to put you on the spot. Take it away, John.
Oh, what's my hidden talent?
What's your secret talent?
Good question. If you ask me again in 10 minutes, I'll probably come up with a different answer. But I'm going to keep it relevant to the Armed Forces Covenant and my Armed Forces connections. Target rifle shooting.
Oh, awesome.
Is what? Sorry, John?
So, target rifle shooting.
Right. Brilliant.
7.62, 600 yards, kind of marksmanship or sniper.
Sniper.
But
John beat the
the
sniper.
ability to coach people in it as well.
Brilliant.
That's
What a talent.
good talent. Yeah.
I'd like to have a go at that. It'd be fantastic.
We should have a club shooting day.
So, John,
Yeah.
if people want to sort of get hold of you, how do they go about sort of inquiring? What's the process?
Yeah, fantastic. So you've got my email address going up on the screen. So just look me up in Cobra Club in terms of membership. Just ping me an email, and let's just start the conversation. It starts over a Zoom. Let's discuss what your business is and how this might benefit, and from what angle you're coming from in terms of support. I'll send you back a very simple step-by-step process. This is what the covenant looks like. This is how you tailor it, and we take it from there. And if it's something people want to take forward, fantastic. If it's something that they can't take forward, or the timing's not right for them at the moment, fine. But as Ed said, free of charge, doesn't take a lot of time. So just get in contact by email.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, John, for coming on today. You've explained it really well, and I think any company out there looking to support the armed forces should get involved and come and have a chat with John. It's 10 minutes, half an hour of their life just to find out, zero cost, and it could make a difference in your organisation. So I'd urge anyone to get in touch with Mr. John Beek.
We've got Sharon Ritchie saying 3 chambers of commerce up in Scotland have signed up to the covenant. We've got Christina saying, obviously it's very interesting, and I would think there's a lot of people who will be very interested in finding out more about it. Just understand it, really.
Yeah. So thank you ever so much, John. Much appreciated, and we'll see you again soon.
Sure. Thank you.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
Should salute John, shouldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was really good. I really understand more about it now and what it's designed to do, the covenant. So yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks for that. Shall we see? Let's have a couple of messages. Hello, Joy, if you're out there. I met Joy the other day, and you remember the Cobra Club, I think last week or the week before. Yeah, lovely to see. Obviously, Rachel's in the building. Hello, Rachel. Rachel's coming up in a minute, so we'll see Rachel in a moment. Obviously, Sharon saying good morning. Good morning, Sharon. Great to see you out there. And
great to see you, Victoria.
Great to see you, Victoria. And then what she goes on to say is, what John Beek doesn't know isn't worth knowing. I totally agree with that. So brilliant stuff. So what we're going to do, Ed, we are now going to play a quick VT, and when we come back, we will have Rachel Reed in the room after. Okay, so you ready? Here we go. Ready.
Hey Rachel, how are you?
Hello, Rachel.
Not too bad, thank you.
Is it hot where you are, or is it just us?
Yes, it is. No, it's hot everywhere, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Is this the first time you've been on a sort of live show on the internet?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
That's all right. Well, great to see you here today. And if anyone's got any questions for Rachel, please do pop them in the comments, and we'll put them to Rachel as we go along.
Andrew, if it's an app you need,
contact Rachel Reed.
Call Rachel Reed. Exactly.
You're going to hear that. You're going to hear that more than once.
So, Rachel, I believe you're into app development. I take it.
Yes, I am. I come from a coding background. So my dad's a programmer. He's worked for Chase Manhattan, Lloyds of London, NatWest Bank, and I got into it at sixth form. And at sixth form, they were looking for a website editor, and I jumped at the chance. And I really enjoyed coding. So that got me onto doing it.
Okay, was that like a school website and stuff like that? Was it?
Yes, the school and sixth form.
Oh, right, fantastic. So you obviously had a good understanding and a good sort of you were into it, I suppose, at an early age, and you knew that that's the path you wanted to take. Fantastic. Yes. So have you been doing sort of apps and tech since you essentially left school? Essentially.
I've been doing apps for a few years now. But it's only recently that I've started to do them commercially.
Okay, all right. And what sort of commercial apps are you producing?
So at the moment, I've just done one for Lyme Regis RNLI Lifeboat Week. So the event happens this weekend.
Okay, hold on. There it is.
Yeah. I think Ed and I both have it on our screen.
Fantastic.
So if you haven't downloaded it, please download it and give it a try.
And what's the app? What's it all about?
So primarily, it's to give the details of Lifeboat Week, and also it's going to have push notifications, and it's a chance for people to donate as well to the very good cause that the RNLI is.
Okay. And what sort of things were they looking for when they?
So it was a client in the Cobra Club. She passed my details on because they were looking for an app developer, and they wanted an app that they could edit themselves. So attached to this app, they can actually change the content.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's really good.
Process for them, is it?
Yeah.
And, in terms of how easy is it for them to sort of, I mean, obviously it takes quite a bit of work developing an app, but I guess for your clients, it's to make it as easy as possible at the other end for them to maintain. Because there's one thing having a great app, there's another thing actually running the app.
Yes. Yeah, so I take care of posting it on the site, on both app stores for them. I do all the screenshot images and everything. So all they've got to do in the back end is change the text and the images. And the links.
And for those Luddites like me, what do you mean App Store? What does that mean?
So the Google Play and the Apple App Store.
Okay.
So there's a certain process you have to go through to get it on there. And it's more than just uploading a zip file to them and hoping for the best. You've got to do screenshots. You've got to get all the right keywords in and everything for it to be approved.
Okay.
And go through a questionnaire as well.
Sharon says, "Hi, Rachel," and she must have been shouting the if you need line. It must be. So yeah, that's good. You've got you've got your strap line sort of going out there that people remember it.
Well, if it's an app you need.
Yeah,
contact Rachel Reed. It's become my catchphrase slogan.
I think it's good. Everyone should have a catchphrase. I love yours.
Fantastic. So obviously this app's now out in the marketplace. I know you touched upon getting it up onto Google Play and what do you call it? Whatever it is.
Apple App Store.
Apple App Store. See, I'm not an Apple person,
Yeah.
so I don't know. And you say it doesn't have to cost a lot to get these things up there, does it? Or is it a pricey?
Well, there's my development time, but in terms of actually paying for the app stores, it's if you're a charity, the Google's only £20 a £20 one-off fee, and then Apple is £79 a year. But if you're a charity, they waive that.
Okay, that's
so that's
more
pretty
than
reasonable.
isn't it? And what happens if you're a private individual? Does it cost a lot to get sort of something up there? And is there like a monthly thing that you have to pay?
Well, this is where I'm thinking of changing my business strategy. I'm thinking of having the commercial apps for the charities, but also to have an app within an app. So to have a subscription model. So businesses would pay me so much a month to have a section on my app, which would essentially be similar to what we've done for the RNLI, but just a small area.
Okay. So then you would post that out specifically. So when they have that up on the App Store, it's only the part of their app on your bigger app.
Yeah.
Okay. And I suppose in that way, that can keep the cost down of
definitely. They wouldn't need to have their own app store then, which would reduce the cost. And also they wouldn't need to have their own hosting costs because traditionally there's database hosting as well.
Right. Yeah, that all sounds quite pricey.
Yes, it can be. It depends how much it scales up as to how much it will actually cost.
Oh, well, as in the more people download it, the more it costs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. I use something called Firebase, and that's the way they price it. They give you a set quota, and then if you go over that quota, it's like 18 cents a megabyte download or something.
Okay, that's interesting. So what should, let's say I was thinking about getting an app, what should be the sorts of things I think about that I should put on my app? I've talked about, spoken about you at the Cobra Club, and I've spoken to you about other companies having apps and things. And one of the questions that comes across from clients when I speak to them is, what would I use it for? What would I put on it? How do I know if I need an app?
Yeah, well, essentially, it shouldn't just be a carbon copy of your website, because that's just pointless. You should have a better designed website in that case. But there should be some interaction with the client. So where an app is useful is in having things like the push notification features. So the ability to send a message directly and for it to sit on your user's phone straight away is much more powerful than an email, which would stay in the inbox and not get read.
Okay. That's brilliant. And is it sort of for more sort of events based sort of companies, or is it if I'm a charity and I'm, like a charity I'm working with, homeless charity in Chippenham. It's just working out in my mind is what the value is in terms of what the end experience is going to be for the user, and can we?
The great thing for events apps is that events could change at the last minute, and whereas if it's traditionally printed in a PDF, and if it's done on a PDF and hand printed, then if there's a change, it's out of date straight away. Whereas with an app, it can be changed it can be updated, and the changes are made straight away.
Okay.
So there's that aspect of it.
If it was a charity and they had products that they were selling, they could promote their products.
They could,
Yeah.
And also getting the donations as well as another feature.
Yeah, so we can see how charities would benefit from having, they've got to have a sort of wide enough audience base out there, I guess, to download the app. And I guess that's, I suppose with the RNLI, they've got that big sort of crowd already, haven't they? That they're well known.
Yes. Yes, it does help if you're a well-known charity, I guess. But that doesn't mean it couldn't work equally for a local small charity. It would just need a bit more advertising and a bit more pushing.
And I think the fact that it's on your phone, I mean, you only put so many apps on your phone. So if you are a charity app on my phone, you're going to get more attention than other charities. So if you're after business, you want to be the first one on the phone, don't you?
You do.
I'm not going to have too many on my phone. So.
Yeah, actually, my phone has actually run out of memory, so I can't have any more. I've got to take stuff off. It's gone the other way. As soon as I get a bit of space on there, Rachel, I'm going to download your apps too. So
yeah, that's great.
I have. Now listen, Rachel. I know that the decision to start a business is a really difficult one. For some people, harder than others. To put yourself out there and be the public face of it can be quite a challenge. I'm sure you probably agree.
Yes.
And you've done really, really well, because the person that I met a year ago to now is you're a completely different person. You're confident and you're getting on with it, and really doing some good stuff. And the quality of your work is fantastic. So it's interesting to me what powers somebody. So I'm going to ask you a question in a second. We're going to play a short VT because I'm interested in what inspires you. Okay, so I'm just going to click my button, and then I'm going to ask you a question, because inspiration in these things is so important. I know drive and to know why you're doing what you're doing, and I bet you've got a good one behind you. So here we go. Inspiration. What's your inspiration? Who inspired you to get to where you've got to, really?
Well, I guess it's a slightly off tangent for business, but my biggest inspiration is Lewis Hamilton, because I'm a big Formula One fan, and he never gives up. So just like me, I mean, I had illness when I was young. I had brain surgery. I went through resets, and I managed to get to where I am today. And there's not many people that would actually follow on that journey.
No. Totally agreed. So Lewis Hamilton had a similar journey, did he?
Well, he's had battles, and even last race he had an issue, and he had to fight racism and stuff. So yeah, he's definitely an inspiration to me. And even if he has a bad race, he just picks himself up and thinks, well, next race it can go better.
Yeah, he had a long old journey, didn't he? In terms of getting to where he is, and it just shows that if you don't give up and you keep persisting, eventually. Good things will start to happen, and it's easy to give up and be defeatist about everything, but you just got to keep pushing through. And I think your inspiration in that sort of side of things, Rachel, in terms of your journey and your drive and your persistence to get to your business and like I say, grow and develop yourself. So now you're fronting your company and building apps for these charities, and you're taking now your business to the next level, and that's all down to your hard work and perseverance.
That's an inspiration to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's really touching, actually. You know, it's a great story. So, what's the plans for the future then, Rachel? What's coming? And where do you want to be in sort of 6 months' time? And what sort of, are you just looking for more charity customers? Are we now looking for more?
Well, I like to do the hybrid model of some charities, but also this app within an app. So it's having an affordable app for businesses to communicate. The main thing is they need to communicate with their customers, and that's how an app can help.
So I guess any companies out there looking to develop their first app and not break the bank should chat with Rachel Reed. And how does that process work? Can someone phone you up for a free consultation? How does that sort of
well, I like to have a consultation over Zoom to discuss what the requirements would be, and then see whether it's a feasible option. And then we can take it from there, do a costing, and see whether it's an option for the business.
Yeah, fantastic. Because we all have great ideas, but whether it's actually doable on an app is a different thing. And how long does it take to create an app? What's the sort of timeline?
Well, the RNLI app's taken us 3 to 4 months to do.
Okay.
So I mean, the biggest thing is the app store.
It's such an easy to use, clear, well put together app. It's very, very good. It's incredibly good. We've had a couple of comments coming through, by the way. One from Hannah, who says that you are an inspiration, okay, in yourself.
Yes.
The other one, well, a couple actually from John, who firstly kindly has obviously looked at your apps. He's obviously downloaded it and had a look at it, and he thinks it's very engaging, and it is. John's also said persistence, consistency wins out in the long run, and it's absolutely true. You know, that dedication to actually having something that's clear and concise and can be used that works, and have a mind that can produce that is really very useful indeed. If someone wanted a consultation with you, how would you normally work?
The best thing is to go to my website and book in a Zoom call, or phone me up. Either way, I'll have either a phone conversation or a Zoom conversation with you, and then we can take it from there.
Absolutely. And I've got info@rachelapps.com and the Mowgli number down below. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Perfect.
Fantastic. Brilliant. It's been great having you on the show today, and it's just a great story. You know, it's the feel good factor, and perseverance and hard work wins out. You know, that's the theme of the day, I think. Especially with yourself, Rachel, and an inspiration, I would say, to lots of people out there that you can make these things work. So brilliant. I'm really touched. Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you for having me.
So what I'm going to do now is we're going to wave goodbye to Rachel. So let's just hit this button, and when we come back, then we're Ed and Andy in the room. So thanks, Rachel. We'll see you again soon. Okay, take care.
Yes,
thank you, Rachel.
Well,
we didn't do any top tips this week, Andy.
Right.
We'll do those next week. We'll keep that one. We'll keep our what's the word? I'll put gunpowder dry on that one. But I tell you, it's quite interesting speaking to Rachel because it does prompt a question, and that is,
thanks for that, Ed. So, obviously, Rachel's story has been incredibly inspiring, and alongside this other person, I'm going to put Rachel on that mantle because I'm quite touched by her drive and passion. And but the other person I was going to mention this week was Louise Monblatt. So Louise is a Cobra Club leader who runs the Lyme Regis Cobra Club, Cobra Jurassic. Don't know where that name came from, but something to do with the South Coast being the Jurassic coastline. Anyway, Louise, incredible lady, super friendly. What's that? Sorry, Ed?
Not that she's an old dinosaur.
No, not at all.
No,
not at all. anyway, I was talking to Louise the other day, and it touched upon these things about sort of what Rachel was talking about, perseverance and endurance and a journey, and she showed me the video of the hare and the tortoise in some sort of Olympic little race, not the cartoon sort of version, but in reality. And she just keeps coming along and teaching me these little lessons of you can't get everything you want now. Business takes time. You have to wait for things to happen, and if you just keep going and keep driving, just like Rachel was saying, eventually stuff was going. And I found it quite inspirational.
I have to say she's one of the most generous referrers.
Absolutely,
wonderful referrals through from her. So.
Yeah, no, and so she is my hero of this week, alongside Rachel Reed. We've just heard that sort of lovely talk. But the question I've got, Ed, is you see a lot of people, and there's all the stuff going on. So I wonder, for this week, Ed, what are your words of wisdom?
Well, I might have to shout because they've decided to start cutting bricks next door with it, as you could probably hear. But I'll tell you, if you go back in time a little bit, and not that long ago, a lot of women had to challenge the perceptions of what could be done and what could not be done, and what society thought a woman could do, and where their place was in society, etc., and what could be achieved. So I'm gonna give you a quote from someone called Amelia Earhart, who we might have heard about. She's the lady who flew the Atlantic single-handedly, and she says that the most difficult thing is actually the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity, so you've got to stick at it. The fears are paper tigers, they're not real. You can do anything you decide to do. You can act to change and control your life, and the procedures, the process is its own reward. So when we meet people who have these fears of starting, and I think if I bring you into this equation, a lot of people that we speak to in the club, they're starting out businesses, or a lot of people who need sales advice, and in your case, that sort of like business advice. Actually, it's the fears of just going with it that's stopping them actually succeeding. And sometimes you've just got to grab the ball by the horns and go for it. And if you do that with good guidance and good governance, then, if you fail, you fail. Ultimately, you're more likely to succeed.
It's better to try and fail than never to try at all.
100%.
You always look back and say, I gave it a go, and out of every problem you get with business, instead of it being a problem, I look for an opportunity to solve that problem or come up with a different sort of idea or a different direction. So, yeah, no, you're right, Ed, and appreciate those words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom.
A couple more comments. Yeah, that's from Rachel.
Got to be done, John.
I think you're naughty, Ed.
I am.
Yeah, it's always. Sharon wants it, and she wants it now. Hope you get it, Sharon.
You can have it, Sharon. Just pop down to Wiltshire and we'll give it to you.
Yeah. You might find it in Tesco's on the third shelf down from the right.
Good shelf.
And John, Louise Monblatt is an inspiration indeed. So yeah, I completely agree.
Yep.
And then Sharon says, make the decision and tell the world. Absolutely. Yeah, she's got to stand up and not be afraid to be counted. And the last comment of the day, there are no failures, only lessons learned. So wise words there from Sharon. So thank you for that, Sharon. It's been a great show today, Ed. So
really good.
Yeah, I think, I don't think Duncan's rocking up today, bless him. So I think what we should do now, Ed, is go into the weekly events.
Oh, weekly events.
You up for the weekly events?
I'm up for the weekly events. We've got some good events coming up next
week. Or maybe
week.
Before the weekly events, we should give a shout out to our show sponsor, who does all our videos. So if you're watching out there and you want some video content, you want a show like what we've got here with content on it, then this is the lady, Hannah, that does it for you. Fantastic. Thank you, Hannah.
Really good. Just changes the whole spirit of everything.
Yeah, Hannah didn't watch the show last week, and it's the first week she didn't watch it, and Hannah was my hero for last week.
No, she wasn't. He's never mentioned you before, Hannah, so he just he's mentioned you because he knows you're watching. It's just, I know he's like.
So I just want to give a shout out.
Can I just say very quickly, is that
yes,
as small businesses or any size businesses, Hannah does something that's quite unique, and to use the word unique when it comes to marketing is a difficult sort of niche to carve. So where Hannah is really special, and special in a good way, is that she uses what we call emotive marketing. So she gets people hook, line, and sinker, heart and soul into your business, and that's what makes clients, or what makes clients last. So I'd really recommend having a one-to-one with her.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Hannah, for all your hard work, dedication. I just want to give a shout out to Katrina, who's one of our new club leaders starting on the Isle of Man. So if you're in that neck of the woods and you fancy doing a bit of business networking up and down the UK, we've got a brand new club leader, Katrina Ellis, with her Titan Troubleshooting, where lots of problems are getting solved at these networking events, and lots of introductions to people as well. So that's fantastic. And the other shout out I want to give is to Alan Cadden, who started the Cobra Express up in Glasgow. So you can get aboard the Flying Scotsman and go and find out what's happening up there, because that was a fantastic event too, and really well organised, put together, and once again loads of connections were being made. So thanks, guys, I really appreciate that. So what we're going to do now, Ed, I think we've got just a couple more comments.
You've caught Hannah out, by the way.
I enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon.
That's all right. And Ed?
Yeah. Come on, Matt. Richard.
I don't know what to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're going to have to watch the show now. So watch the show.
Caught you out, Hannah, for not watching last week's show. You're in trouble.
It's terrible, isn't it? First week she didn't watch it, and she's the hero of the week.
You can't get the emotive marketers these days, Eddie. Over
So, Ed, I think it's time for us to get into the next week weekly events. So, are you ready for this then?
I'm ready, sir.
Okay, let's hit the button. Here we go.
Well, guys, I think you should kick the week off with Monday motivation. Come and join me. Let's get the diary full of appointments for the following week, every Monday, 9 o'clock till 10 o'clock.
Fantastic. Then we have Christine's Virtual Coffee Club with the wonderful Christine Norris and Cobra Thrive in Mid Wales every Monday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m.
And then you can meet the lady herself, Cobra Creative, Hannah Matarazzo's club, every Monday, 4 till 5, creating networks, relationships, and growth.
Fantastic. Then there's Mr. 00 Zaf himself up in Birmingham Central, Monday Mayhem, weekly on Monday, 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m.
And then start Tuesday with a bang. Off to Quest West Business Networking with the Inspirational Juniors West on a Tuesday, 10:30 to 11:30.
Lovely do. Then we have the business fairy godmother herself, Tantalising Taylor, Yvonne Taylor, Tantalising Tuesday, every Tuesday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m.
And I love Fan Dabby Do. Come and join Victoria Woods Fan Dabby Do every Tuesday, 1:30 to 2:30 for Cobra Office.
Brilliant. And as we just spoke about, Katrina Ellis, Titan Troubleshooters, every Tuesday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Based on Cobra iPad.
And then we saw new members joining rapidly. Come and join Hive Mastermind Wednesdays between 2 and 3:30 with the #1 Amazon best-selling author, Beverly Lockett.
Fantastic. Then we have the incredible Rian Anstey, who has her event right on the top of Snowdon Summit via Zoom every Wednesday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m.
And then the mother, the big boy of all networking meetings in the country, 7 till 9 on a Wednesday, hosted by the wonderful Andrew Hatcher.
Brilliant. And then coming up, Mr. Jonathan Foy, John, we call him, business networking every Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m.
And then come and join what Barry would call the main event, Barry Hunt Live Link Up, every Thursday, 1 till 2.
Fantastic. Barry's doing a blank to blank event this week, which is going to be good. And then we have Mr. Chris Mason, Cobra Strike. Chris likes a bit of bowling and a little bit of networking. So fantastic guy. Come and get involved.
And then come and meet up, inspirational Louise Montblanc, first thing Friday. So every Friday, 8 till 9 o'clock.
Fantastic, thanks Ed. Then we have the Full Welsh Breakfast with Mr. Shane Yates every Friday morning, 9:30 to 11 a.m. in the Cobra Club.
And then you've got that chap we talked about, Alan Camp, with his new club, the Cobra Express, every Friday, 2 till 3:30. Doot, doot.
And then last but not least, Sharon, it's been great having you on the show in the comments today, Sharon. Wind Down Friday, business networking every Friday, 4 p.m. to 5:30. Why don't you wind down with a glass of wine at the end of the week? I hope to see you there. How does someone find out about all this, Ed?
Well, I would hop along to www.thecobraclub.co.uk, where you can, on the very first week, book a tour, and either myself or you will show them around the club, give you a virtual tour, show you how it all works. Come and get involved. It's dead easy. There's no cost to a virtual tour. Come and see. If you'd like to come to a meeting, come along. We'll invite you to a meeting. Come and see a meeting.
Brilliant. That sounds fantastic, Ed. Well, I think it's been a great show today. I learned so much about the Armed Forces Covenant and understand that a lot more, and just more about Rachel and her raps and her story, really. And
absolutely.
Just want to say thanks to everyone who's commented and watched today. It just keeps on getting better and better, really. And if you'd like to come on the show, please do get in touch. Andrew at thecobraclub.co.uk or Ed at thecobraclub.co.uk. So Ed,
got something saying that. Look at this.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I can't find the ad you want, but I've done. Oh, there you are. Look, I can do that one. Look, and that's got the Cobra Club on it. Isn't that cool?
Fantastic. So Ed, I think it's time. It's been a great show, and I think it's time to go off and cool down.
Absolutely. I'm going to shoot the builders next door.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think it's time for the over and out. So over and out, and we'll see you next week.
Over and out, guys.
Now you're watching me, yeah, all eyes on me, 'cause I've been living the good life. So come fly with me into my fantasy, and we be loving the good life, good life.
I think this dream now just hit me. Why don't you just go there with me? Surf in the skies and splash in the clouds, dance in the crowds and laugh out loud. Holding your hand, unfolding a plan. Two souls in a land like gold in a pan. Float in the breeze or soak in the sea. Come go there with me where we both wanna be. Lie on the beach or fly in the streets. I'm trying to keep this vine in the reach. Putting everything I do aside, me and you are first. We can travel to the very end of the universe. You and me are meant to be divine energy. Living with no rules in a pool of serenity. Come be my fantasy, go away with me. Lock us up in a dream and throw away the keys. Come on, live this up now. Good life, good laugh, good love now. Come on, live this with me. Good laugh, good love, we live free. Come on, live this up now. Good life, good laugh, good love now. Come on, live this with me. Good laugh, good love, we live free. We need to rise with these new eyes. Pull the disguise off of these blue skies. Lights in the city reflect off the shoreline. When you're living this life, you want more time. Rewind the time, align planets. Ride this comic to a new dynamic. Your eyes on me, mine on you. Living the good life, we do what
Now
we
you're
want to.
watching me, yeah, all